SASH tapping in. Welcome to the Cypher. This is the first official Cypher interview, and we're welcoming SASH. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me anytime.
Of course, man. And I should give a little bit of context here for everybody listening that this is not the first interview that you and I have done. This is actually the second interview. The first interview we did was the first ever Cypher interview, and this thing was just a website. So we've got you 2 for 2 now, kicking off the Cypher. So again, appreciate that. Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
Of course, bro. Listen, first, I got to get your really quick opinion. J. Cole, The Off Season. Have you heard it?
Yeah, I love it, man.
Hell yeah.
I love it. He's killing it.
I'm right there with you, man. And the LA Leakers freestyle that he did was absolutely nuts.
Oh, that was insane. Crazy.
Nuts. He got up there and he's like, oh, I haven't done one of these in years, and then destroyed both of the beats that they gave to him. It was nuts, man.
Drake's got some heat under his ass now, huh?
That's what I'm saying, and I know we just talked about this because we had some technical difficulties for the first time around. But Drake has an album. Exactly, Drake has an album coming this year that has to happen, and he probably feels the pressure now. He has to, you know.
Most definitely.
We'll see what he comes out with, because he's been kind of touting his album for a year now, long time. So excited to see what he's got.
Lover boy, we'll see. Yeah,
exactly. We'll see, right? We'll see when we see. But look, I want to get right into it and ask what your first memory of hip hop was.
It was actually Ready or Not.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this before, but yeah, it was Ready or Not. That was the first song I ever remixed. I used to use Audible on those PCs to remix songs and stuff, and that was the first song I ever remixed. That song holds a special place in my heart still. So.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Ready or Not by the Fugees. That's way back. That's way back. But that's a classic hip hop song. That's a classic hip hop joint.
Yeah, I used to remix all those classic hip hop. That's how I started.
That's right. You were saying that you remixed those. We were just chatting about that, and you recorded them all on Audible, right? Just playing the YouTube beat right over it.
Playing the YouTube beat. I used to write music, and then I started getting interested into what I would sound like, actually, rapping or singing it. So that's why I started doing that. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. That's how it all started. And then I ended up going to studios, ended up actually recording, and then. Down the line, I started actually releasing official projects and songs.
Right. And I heard I gotta call you out for this, because you just brought it up on our last interview, that there's a secret SoundCloud that's floating around the internet. What's that all about?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I have so much music, unreleased music. It's under a different name on SoundCloud that I will never tell anyone about, except for myself, and maybe if me and you are chilling, I'll show you. But it's like hundreds of songs that I have before I started releasing official releases, before SASH, before my first official Black Caviar release. I had just a bunch of music, man, and I still it's still SoundCloud, just a bunch of released but unofficial songs by me.
Do you think those songs will ever see the light of day, in 5-10 years from now?
I'm sure people dig that up somehow, some way. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be able to. Some of it's actually kind of dope, but
hell yeah, man. Well, look, it's not releasable. Well, look, this is what's good. Next time I'm in California, I'm pulling up, and We'll see if it happens. No pressure, but we'll see if it happens.
Before the times of SASH.
Before the times of SASH, right?
I'll show it to you.
Hell yeah, we'll make it happen one day. Speaking of just catalogs and songs, I have to know your favorite song of yours. I have a couple. Mine, I just told you these. Make Her Say, Exotic are two of my favorites, and then there's a bunch of songs off of Queen of Hearts. We'll get into that in a minute. Fork in the Road's a good one. But what is your favorite song of yours that you've recorded, and then what is your favorite song to perform live?
Probably my favorite song to perform live is Mona Lisa, just because when that song drops, it's just like, you know, you're ready to turn up. That song has a certain vibe that was caught during the making of that song that's difficult to repeat or to do again. So that song just is a whole fucking vibe on its own. But my favorite song, just in general, is Fall Apart, just emotionally and how much it means to me. And like every time I listen to that song, it brings up those same emotions. So, and it came along so quickly and authentically and originally that it's just one of those songs, man. It's just how I was feeling it during that moment. And you can feel it when you listen to it too.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you absolutely can, man. It's the last song off of Queen of Hearts, and it pulls the whole project together, you know, and I think, like you were saying, kind of save the best for last. It's totally true. Yeah. You know, that song kind of resolves the whole story of the album, kind of, you know?
For sure, yeah.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, you know, I want to talk about Queen of Hearts because this is a project for you that was more kind of reflective. You kind of looked inward more, I think, you know, than some of your past projects. There's a couple of joints on there that you can party to. I know Libido is on there and Try You is on there and things like that. That's in, you know, a little bit more, you know, what we're used to, SASH form, you know, bangers that you can turn up to. But at the same time, you really kind of took a look inward, you know, on the Queen of Hearts project. So talk a little about that.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, it was a time in my life where I was emotionally going through it with a girl. She basically broke my heart, and I think that all of my emotion, everything that I was feeling during that time, like rage, like depression and anxiety, it all came out into my music, which it always does. But during that time, that's what I was going through. So that's just like the whole vibe of the album as well. I've been working with the same producer since I was 16.
Right.
Who's been with me the whole way. That's, you know, he produced the whole album and he threw together all those songs, and it's just kind of like the vibe was perfect and kind of matched accordingly with my emotions and what was going on during that time, as well as the album. I mean, obviously, like Libido and Try You were still on there.
Right.
A couple of more turn up songs, but like the whole vibe of the album in general was that like kind of like emotional, distressed, Queen of Hearts type of like heartbreak situation. And it was based on one person and a real story, and everything came together in like such an original, authentic way. It was just funny because she had a tattoo on her arm that said Queen of Hearts. The album was called Queen of Hearts, and I named it that before I even knew about that.
No way. I didn't know you named it that before you knew. That's wild.
I named it Queen of Hearts, and when I was with her, she had a tattoo on her fucking arm that said Queen of Hearts, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how does that make any sense? So it all fell in line. Like, you know how in life things just fall in line? Like, perfect.
And you can't explain it?
Does God exist? Or like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah.
It's got to be a sign for something, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Fell into alignment. Album came out dope. I was super excited about it. And I still it's my favorite project of mine.
Yeah, it's my favorite project of yours too. I feel like it tells, you know, the most complete story that you've kind of told so far, you know? And I mean, granted, you're still early on in your craft, you know, you've got a long time left to go here in music, and you've got a lot left to say, I'm sure.
Unless I die.
Well, you know, let's, you know, hope not.
But if I do, then I still got a pretty dope catalog.
If you do, then yeah, you still got a dope catalog, and you know, we will find that other SoundCloud for sure at that point.
Yeah, we'll find it.
That's right. Yeah, someone will have to share that.
Close friends will be like, "Oh, that's Brazzer."
Right. For sure, bro. I was gonna say, you know, one of my favorite things that you did for Queen of Hearts was the pill bottle USB drive. And I want you to talk about how that came about, because I think, and, you know, correct me if, you know, you think that I'm wrong. I think that I'm right, that artists need to get creative in how they present their album to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I made that. So I made a couple trailer videos for the album, and one of the trailer videos, it's still out. It's called Goodbye. It's on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You can find it through my website. If you go through there, you'll find it on my YouTube channel.
Hell yeah, we'll link it all below so everyone can find it.
Yep, SASHofficial.com.
But
Man, that is like my fucking prized possession right there. It's in the video. You see it in the video.
Yeah.
With a pill bottle, with the album. Like, we created all of this, and my producer helped me come up with that idea. Insane. Like, the name of all the tracks on the pill bottle, just as it was like pills, like directions how to use pills.
Right.
But like, it's just the song, the track listing, and then a pill-shaped USB that I found on Google that made like 100 of them.
It's wild.
Inside of there with the album on it is like, shit, man. I'm just glad that I have the video as like, proof of how we did it and like marketing proof.
Right.
So, yeah, it's super, super cool idea.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask kind of like how you guys thought of that, or was it just one of those moments where you were like, oh, like, why are we not doing this?
Queen of Hearts was a time when we were all just kind of like all up in like
all that stuff,
all that shit. So I was like, dude, you might as well have a pill bottle with a pill in it that like you take as the album, but instead of
that's
the
nuts.
pill, it's the USB. So yeah,
that's
man,
nuts. Can you talk a little bit more about Innovate or Die? Especially with COVID, I think the one thing that COVID, more than anything, has forced out of music is it's forced us to innovate and be different and think of new ways to, find audiences or do whatever. And, like, with that, the pill bottle thing for me was so creative. Talk about, as an artist, how important it is to continually be creative,
Yeah, man. That's the most important thing, and that's all that really matters is how creative you are in the studio, outside of the studio.
Yeah.
In terms of like marketing efforts, just pretty much everything. It just has to do with creativity. So if you're good at marketing and you're creative in terms of marketing, then and you're good in terms of like being musically creative too, then that's super important. But I think it is very important to be creative. In terms of like a marketing level, like doing little trailer videos, doing music videos, like pushing your content as much as you can in like any type of creative way. The trailer videos, like all that kind of stuff. So and that's probably number one, and consistency too. I think we talked about that, but consistency is super important.
Yeah.
And then just quality, man.
Yeah, totally. I want to get back to the consistency because we talked a little bit about it before, but like I said, this isn't the first interview that we've done. This is the first time that we really talked. You talked a lot about quality over quantity, and I tend to agree with that because in the world today with, apps like TikTok and now, Instagram is even bigger than it was, and there's so many new features on it now. It's one of those things where you can put out so much more content now, and the whole Gary V model is put out as much content as you can, but you've kind of followed this model of quality over quantity, and I tend to agree with that more. Can you talk a little bit about that, and if that's still kind of the way that you like to do things, and that whole process of yours?
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, for me, quality is still more important than quantity. I think there's a difference between quantity and consistency. I think being consistent is extremely important. It's the number one important factor of being an artist, is being consistent, like having consistent releases of singles, projects, videos.
Right.
That's super important. But I think also quality is super important. Not to just release something because you want to release something. I think if you care about your music and who you are as an artist and who you are as a brand and your quality and how people are going to look at that and what's going to happen after you die and how people are going to look at your catalog afterward, you got to think about quality, and you got to take quality into an important perspective, because that's all that matters to me. The thousands of people that do listen to my music, or more than that later on, like, what are they going to see? Like, I want, from an outside perspective, for my catalog to be what it is right now, and only being the quality that I want it to be at moving forward as well. In terms of videos too, everything. I put so much effort into all. I completely co-produce all of my videos. I direct all of my videos, and like my songs, same situation. Like, I will work on a song for like 10, 20 hours if I, like all in like studio time. But that's what's important to me, man. Like the best mastering, sterling sound, like the best mastering that ever uses I go through, engineering, like mixing, like all that kind of shit. That's what's important. I mean, like if you just want to release a bunch of music, and that's on you, but to me, my brand is and my catalog is more important than having like a million songs. So that's that.
Yeah, totally. I think it shows too, Sash. I mean, like the quality of the music that you've been putting out. I mean, since we've known each other, it's been I think like 5 or 6 years now, maybe give or take. From day one, you were putting out music that has seemed to be a level above maybe everybody else at your. If you've been doing music for 5 years and someone else has been doing music for 5 years, it always seems like you're a slight maybe cut above everybody else. Is that something you've always tried to maintain? It's just I'm always going to be, that much better, or I'm always going to have something that's more quality? Is that kind of the competitive edge?
I don't know if it's a competitive edge or not, but I think it's just that's what's important to me. And I think all successful artists, that's important to them too. It's the amount of time and the amount of quality and everything being there to perfection, and the maturity level of it. Like you have to be mature enough to understand and hear it and to know like the quality that it's there. And like I always strive to only be at the quality of artists or other music that I listen to. If it's not the same quality when I listen to it in my car or in my headphones as fucking like all the other artists that are putting music out, all the top 100 Billboard artists, I want to put it out. I want to be at that level, because if for some reason I do get heard by the right people or something like that, or later on I'm listening, I want to be at that quality. I don't care if, I don't care about anything else, to be completely honest with you, other than like quality content.
Yeah, young artists, listen the fuck up right now, honestly. This is it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man. Consistency is important, though, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
But,
no, I love that. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. That's pretty much all I want to say. Like, there's a bunch of SoundCloud rappers out there that, like, will be popping off for, like, a day or two. But, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm different than those artists. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't see myself as those, like, one-hit wonder artists. I will never be a one-hit wonder artist, for sure. No, I might be heard for music, and I might be heard for like my quality and like the kind of niche sound that I do have.
Right.
But that's the difference right there. Like if I have kids, I want family, I want friends, I want people that like, oh yeah, Sash also, he makes music, here's his catalog, here's SashOfficial.com, here are all of his music platforms and all that. That's my catalog, that's my baby, that's what I care about, not fucking some dumbass song that's gonna pop off for a day or two. But yeah, that's just me, man. But everyone's different. I respect all artists. I respect all those songs that are just fun to listen to too. And I like making songs that are fun to listen to, but it still has to be quality,
Yeah, I love that. That sparked kind of an interesting follow-up that I have. Talking about process, this emphasis on quality is when you go to make an album, do you have a formula that you follow, or is it kind of just like, all right, I'm ready to put together a project, and each project is unique and kind of how it comes about?
It's not really a formula, but I think it takes a certain direction once I start making it, in terms of like the production, like my producer, like what direction we're taking it in, as well as like kind of like once we start, like we kind of have a general understanding of like the direction it's going in, and like the mood, the vibe, and like
totally.
The subject of the album as well, and it kind of comes together like that. It's not something that's like written out, like this is what's going to happen. It's more about like just starting the process, doing it, and like heading in the same direction of like, like kind of putting the pieces together. Like, hey, listen, like we already have these thoughts, we have these subjects. Like, why don't we just keep heading in that direction? I'll build around that, and then I'll build around that, and then we'll just put that together as a project, figure out a name, like all that kind of stuff. So it all comes together while it's happening, I think.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I like that. I want to take a quick step back and just, kind of back to your like Queen of Hearts era, that time of your life when you were making that album. You said, and you were, you're a little open about it. So, if you're willing to be open about it again, that'd be great. But just kind of talking about that mental health topic, and talking about how important it is for artists to also look out for themselves. You know, like we mentioned just briefly before, how, you know, there's been more artists passing away, more artists dying because of, you know, drug overdose or whatever. Like, right. Yeah.
For sure, yeah, it's pretty bad right now. I mean, the past 2 years have been really bad, but yeah, depression, mental health, anxiety, it's all art what a lot of artists go through. Definitely what I go through too. There are certain things that you can do to get, like, you know, help yourself get out of it, like exercising and, you know, just
Right.
looking outside the box and realizing, like, this isn't all that is there to life. Like, you know, life is bigger than that. Like, of course, like, you're an artist, you're doing your craft. There are a lot of artists. I always compare it to, like, artists that are painting pictures in studios. Same way I'm in the studio making music.
Right.
You know, you're not going to be. Van Gogh only got famous after he died. And, like, you know,
Yeah.
It's like you got to put yourself outside of that box and not dig yourself a grave, because then that's going to drive you crazy. And a lot of artists deal with depression too. It's like you're trying to go to the studio and be more creative. You start doing drugs and stuff to try to, like, you know, loosen up a little bit, to be more creative in that kind of way. So I feel like that's a revolving issue with drugs and things like that, which is like, of course I've done drugs too, and like different substances to like loosen up and be more creative in the studio as well. But if you get too lost in that lifestyle, then that'll fuck you up for sure. But yeah, I think all artists, and at the same time, it's like music, like the music comes from like the depression, like the low points that you have in your life, and like that's like a release, and that's a release for me. It's like music is a release for me, and for a lot of artists. So it's really like a double-edged sword. You know, you really have to think positive, and thinking positive will bring positivity back to you. It's always like that. Like, put good energy out, you'll get energy back. And it's okay to loosen up a little bit and do things and party and you know, have fun making music, but you just got to be careful, man.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Fall down the wrong hole and never come back.
Yeah, it's wild. And you're right. People right and left, it seems like we're losing lately. So, you know, keep an eye on, you know, keep an eye on yourself. And everyone out there listening, keep an eye on yourself too. Seriously, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man.
For sure. You know, kind of just like talking a little bit more about where you're at right now as an artist. You know, what are some of the challenges that you're facing as, you know, someone who's growing in the space without like all the COVID stuff?
I don't know. I feel like I always want more than what I have, and so I feel like that's the promise for me. Until like I'm at the level of success that I want to be at, I'm never going to be fully satisfied. So like, yeah, like I always try to, like I said, always try to like step outside from a different perspective and see. It's like I have all these platforms with all my catalogs of music, a professional website, like everything done very well, all the videos, music, stuff like that, hundreds of thousands of streams. But at the same time, when people are like, yo, you have that and that, it's not for me. I'm always right here. I want to be right there.
Yeah.
You know? I always feel like I'm not there yet. So like, until I'm there, like, don't get me wrong, I'm totally fine with, you know, and I love being in the process of making music and being consistently like releasing music and videos like that. But
yeah,
you know, I always strive for. It's just my personality, man. I just always strive for success. So
keeping up with your own expectations can be tough as fuck, dude. Honestly, and just like kind of. Right, dude, kind of talking about that, you know, maybe deep diving a little bit into this idea of success. Like, I struggle with this all the time when, like, you know, I'm not going to even, you know, total transparency. This is like the third time I've launched Cypher, you know, because every time I try to do it, my expectations grow higher than they were before. And I'm like, oh, it's got to be better, you know, got to start over, got to try this, got to try that, you know, got to get bigger, got to have more followers, all this stuff. It's like, it feels sometimes, you know, never ending. Like, am I ever going to make it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you just got to know, man, like, you're in the lane that you want to be in.
Right.
And you're doing what you want to do, and there are people out there listening, and that's what really matters. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, straight up, you know? I think it's been about 2 years, I think we talked about, since the last time we really chatted. And I'm interested to hear from our last interview, what do you think has changed most about your brand, or maybe your style of music, just in general?
Since the last time we spoke,
Yeah.
shit,
If
I think
anything, maybe nothing's changed.
no, definitely changed, but I think changed in terms of like growth and maturity. Like it's
Yeah.
just more mature now, more wholesome, and I'm just excited for what's next. Like I said, I was telling you before, like I'm working with this new PR company.
Right.
That's dope, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with them. They're based all over
Hell yeah.
LA, UK, and London, and they work with some good people. So we're going to see what happens with them, and then just growth as an artist too. I'm working
Yeah.
on a new video and some new music too. I actually got kind of a banger.
Nice.
That's coming, man. But it's one of those like songs that you said, like those SASH like banger songs. It's one of those.
SASH in true fucking form,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
It's one of those. So I'm excited, man. I'm just having fun, living life, freaking
Good.
in an amazing city with amazing people, amazing friends, and making music at the same time and grinding and working. And that's what life is all about, man.
Yeah, man. I I think so too. You know, it's interesting to the PR agency thing. I guess maybe one of the follow-up questions I have from that, how involved are you when putting together, you know, some of these marketing campaigns for yourself? I was actually chatting with like an artist friend of mine, just, you know, shooting the shit or whatever, and they have their PR basically organized pretty much everything from beginning to end. And I thought to myself, that's interesting, because if I was an artist and I was marketing myself, I'd pretty much want to be involved every step of the way. How involved are you just with, you know, some of the aspects of your brand that you quote unquote outsource or you trust in other people's hands?
Yeah, well, it's actually kind of in the process. So I'm pretty hands-on in terms of like what our campaign and what our strategy is. Like I want to overlook everything. Like I'll let them do their job. But yeah, definitely like we're still in the process of like working it out. So like I can't really tell you 100% right now. But yeah,
For sure.
I'm definitely hands-on in the process. Same way I'm hands-on in all processes. Like I told you I direct all of my music videos.
Right.
Co-produce and executively produce everything. So I'm pretty hands-on in all aspects. So
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think that's important. You know, it kind of caught me off guard, and I'd go as far as to say is that particular friend that I talked to is probably in the minority of people when they say, you know, I'm not as involved, because being an artist is who you are. It's almost an extension of, you know what I mean? Like, it's an extension of you. So, you know, having that in someone else's hands, I would want to be as involved as, excuse me, as involved as possible. Kind of moving.
right?
Yeah, right. Like that kind of surprised me. So I was like, I mean, I know it. I kind of figured what your answer would be, but I thought I'd ask anyway. And you know, just kind of like maybe taking a different look at things. What are some of the things you're most proud of in the last couple of years? You know, you talked about some of the challenges that you faced and some of the changes that your brand has had in the past couple of years since we talked. What are some of the things that you're most proud of since the last time we spoke?
Damn, I'm probably super proud of like the quality of the content that we've been releasing.
For sure.
Like the music videos. I don't know if you saw the Nothing to Prove video.
Yeah,
And
I
also
did.
and like the whole quality of that EP that we just released, Love and Solace.
Yep.
Like the level of quality is just, I'm super proud of that. Like it's all the way up there. Like in terms of like audio and
Yeah.
sonically and production and like engineering and all of that, and music too, like in how we came together. Like we've been working more as a team and less as a single artist, so that's what's important too. So I think it's
Yeah.
coming together real well, and we're just kind of narrowing that down more and more. So definitely that's probably it. Quality.
Hell yeah. I love that. And you know, one thing I noticed is that you don't have a ton of features on you know, a lot of your projects and things like
I
that.
gotta really like, because I don't have the ability to have a high artist like big artists on my songs.
Right.
So the artists that are in my genre or like on the same level as me, like I gotta either really, really like them, which most of the time I don't, which is why
Right.
which is why they're not on my songs. But
Yeah.
'cause I just think it's not good enough. But
Yeah.
like there are certain artists that like I would love to have on my songs. I don't have the connection to have them on my songs.
Yeah. Who are some of those artists?
Like what's his name? Bozzy.
Bozzy's from Michigan. He's a Detroit guy, actually.
Yeah, man. I would love to have him on my song.
Yeah, he's sick.
A couple other people. Also, there's this dude I've been listening to from Canada, Pressa. He's super dope.
Yeah, he's dope too. I would love to see SASH feature more. You know, is that the same kind of thing? Like for you, when you're picking on someone else's song to be on?
I'm cool with doing features as long as the artist is on a higher level than me and I respect them and like them. I mean, or on the same level, but you know, I like their music and it's like a fitting style. You know, I wouldn't want to do something that's not like fitting. You know.
For sure. Yeah, it's got to fit in. It's got to fit into what you're doing. You know, and your whole kind of broader outlook. But I thought that's interesting. Yeah, I would love to see SASH featured more, you know? But that'll come, and when it does, that'll be dope. Kind of just moving along, and I'm getting towards the end of my note sheet here, but kind of looking to the industry and looking forward a little bit. All the talk is around these NFTs, you know, and I don't know how much you know about these, but they're blowing up, and everybody's getting involved. Everybody seems to be selling something now with these NFTs. Have you thought about doing anything like that yourself?
Nah.
Nah, not even.
Nah, man, it's not for me.
No? Do you mind if I ask why?
I don't know, man. I just don't have any personal interest in that at all. Like it's
fair.
It's not something that interests me, and it's not something that I'm good at.
Yeah.
Same thing with video games, man. I'm fucking horrible at video games. I don't touch them. I don't play them. I just feel like shit when people beat me in them. So I'm like, why would I play video games?
It's a big blow to your ego, huh? The video games.
For sure, man. GTA is the only fucking video game I play, and that's because it's just a single player game.
Right, and it's hard to lose.
Yeah. It's hard. You can't lose. That's why I've always.
That's right.
I've been good at single player sports my whole life, not good at team sports.
Right. Well, listen, Sash. Look, I've moved towards the end of my note sheet here, and I just wanted to ask you, you know, what's next for Sash? What can we look forward to as fans? What do you got coming up for us? What's the scoop?
Yeah, I got a new single that's coming. I got a music video that's coming for Bad Bitch, which is a single that I just released. That if you
Absolutely.
To, and then all of my information, all my music, all my social media, all my platforms are on my website, sashofficial.com. Like you could link that.
Absolutely.
If they want to see it, but yeah, it's got everything. And then yeah, just keep an eye out, man. I'm consistently releasing music and content videos, so I'll have more coming.
Hell yeah. I have one. You reminded me of one question that I have, and you said that everything is around consistency, right? And so it's this idea of consistency. And what is the longest amount of time you would go without maybe releasing a song to the point where you feel like, all right, it's gotten to the point where it's inconsistent?
Yeah, a couple months, like months.
Yeah, a couple months. So it's got to be refreshed every few months.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, listen, Sash, moving on to kind of just like the undeciphered section of the show where, you know, we both kind of highlight an artist that's up and coming, maybe on the rise that we're both listening to lately. I'll go first. My artist this week is Belly. He's a hip hop guy that I got turned on to.
I love Belly, man.
Hell yeah. I got turned on to him like probably about a year ago, and the song that I listened to that I first loved was called Money on the Table, featuring Benny the Butcher. Great hip hop track. I think he is just such a great songwriter. His delivery, it's like he's been rapping forever, honestly. I'm a big fan of his.
He has been, though. He has been. He's dope.
He's been rapping for a long time. I know he's not necessarily quote unquote on the rise, if you will, like, you know, maybe some other smaller artists are, but man, he's dope, and I think he's underrated.
Yeah, he's dope. I would say right now I've been listening to Pressa a lot, and I think he's so dope and deserves way more recognition, which he's getting it right now. But you know, he's with Drake all the time, and
Yeah.
His music is dope. He's different, which I like. It's just
Nice.
stands
He's
out.
from Toronto?
He is from Canada, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Toronto.
Fuck yeah. Well, listen, Sash, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We had a few technical difficulties before this started, but figured it out, bro.
Thank you for having me. Seriously.
Of course.
Anytime, any place. Seriously.
Straight up, Sash, I appreciate it. When I'm in California, I'll absolutely let you know. Who knows when that'll be, but when it is, I'll let you know. And like I said, thank you so much for doing this. We'll always appreciate it. And take it easy, man.
My pleasure, man. You too. You too. I'll be in touch, though. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll make something happen for sure.
All right, man.
All right, bro. Peace.
You too.
Hell yeah, Sash. That was dope.